Happy New Year. Our planet is unique, a living world of diversity and wonder. It's also fragile. With a new year comes the opportunity for change. And if we act in 2021, we can make a world of difference. Together, we can turn things around. Together, we can restore our fragile home and make it a happy new year for all the inhabitants of planet Earth.
Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. Doc and Prop, Debate Amongst Friends. We're here live from our studios to talk about the NCAA college football playoff and the national championship game. Johnny, how you doing there, boyo?
Doing pretty good. I'm just out here ready to start doubling down this year. And
Down.
Sometimes you just gotta double down on with your soul as
That's
it cries
it.
out.
Doubling down with your soul, which seems to be the topic of discussion for the last 2 weeks. The animated movie Soul. That's all people talked about for the last 2 weeks. That was good. It really was good. And I hate the fact that the soul of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish past did not help propel them at all in this game. I don't even know if they ever got off the bus, Boyo.
They shouldn't have been in this situation to begin with.
It's so tough. And we talked about that. We talked about
this a few weeks ago. The problem is when the selection committee wants to generate money, especially during a pandemic season. So not a lot of people are really attending the games. Getting big hype matchups like this is easy money.
What is it I always say to you? I always say, it's all about the money.
Well, Doc, easy money does not equul quality entertainment. And that's what this game was.
I made the mistake.
No good.
I made the mistake of texting you and saying, well, at least they played better defensively this time versus 2013. And you said, this is better? Oh, God.
What? One extra touchdown? That makes it better?
But honestly, I believe that this particular game, I mean, Alabama's just too strong. They're too good. They're too fast. Najee Harris is all over the place, running wild. Mac Jones, I know we talk about Trevor Lawrence a lot and we talk about Trask a lot. Justin Fields gets a lot of talk, but Mac Jones is really good.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge Alabama quarterback guy. And I know some people on Facebook, I think I was reading a Tampa Bay thread where some people were talking about specific quarterbacks from certain schools and how where a guy went to school shouldn't matter. But it really does, especially when you go to like a team like USC. You know how I feel about Carson Palmer and all those boys. But Alabama quarterbacks typically don't remain quarterbacks for too long.
No.
And if they do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, not too many of them remain quarterbacks.
No, they
not too
actually
many of
turn into
them.
offensive coordinators. It's just kind of funny.
They do. They turn into offensive coordinators. They turn into wide receivers. They just kind of disappear. But Mac Jones actually has a chance because he's actually really, really good.
Yeah.
Probably the first mobile quarterback in a while that Alabama's had that, was a pocket passer. In the last couple of years, as we've seen nothing but scrambling quarterbacks.
That's true.
Even though Tua and Jalen Hurts both can throw the ball, their legs were major weapons. But Mac Jones, 25 for 30, 290 yards, 4 touchdowns. Huge for Devontae Smith.
Shredding this Notre Dame. I don't know why I'm Irish.
Right. Defense. I'm definitely not fighting.
Because I ain't fighting. I'm just laying there and taking in the face.
Yeah, over and over again because it's all in my head.
Because it's all in my head. I think about it over and over again. No, it ain't all in my head. It's right there on the screen, folks. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but Najee Harris, 15 carries, 125 yards. I knew that this game wasn't going to be anything. And this is why they put this as the early game. And I knew that. Once I saw this as the early game, I said, they expect this to be a wash. You don't want the wash on prime time at night. You want the wash in the beginning. Let the early people soak this up, and let's get ready for a real game, which is what we got.
I feel like that statement by itself is like college football playoff suicide right there, if you really think about it. Because
it is.
Because why would you want a game that's a wash to be your first game in your playoffs?
I don't know.
Having 2 really, really good games.
And that's why I was saying that I felt like they should expand for college football, because it's like similar to how they do in the NFL. Like, 2 teams get a bye. 2 teams play each other. Like, they should just expand it. Like, if there are so many teams, because there's usually so many teams on the bubble that could just make it. It's like that would be so much more exciting if they just allowed teams to play in. Like, Notre Dame shouldn't have had to go against Alabama right away.
Well, they don't care.
And that's the thing.
That's the problem. They don't care.
And that's a major problem. And that attitude, I think, is what will be the playoff suicide, because at that particular point, you're telling us like, hey, we're going to give you the same 3 teams every year. We're going to give you Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and in this particular situation, Ohio State.
You got to think about it like this, though. This is the same Alabama, not same players, same Alabama that in 2015 absolutely destroyed Michigan State 38-0.
And Michigan State is always a tough defensive team. Offensively, they're okay. Defensively, they're really good. Alabama, and I think this is the one part that I think we can kind of transition off the topic on, but Nick Saban, I asked the question, do you think he's still having fun?
Absolutely he is.
I don't know. Like, winning is cool. Winning is so cool. Making money is cool, but it's like, all you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I was saying. This is where I fault the selection committee, because if you're the top team in the country,
right,
you want to face off against the best competition on your road to the championship. Because if all you're doing is absolutely destroying all the competition ahead of you, and it's more like a cakewalk to the championship, like, where's the motivation? There's no motivation there.
There's none. And it's like, here we are. It's 2021. Alabama has dominated this entire system. At this point, Alabama might as well become an expansion team in the NFL.
Nah, I think that's still taking it too far. I think
they might as well. They might as well, because at this point,
because
Alabama can beat the bottom tier teams in the NFL.
I feel like that's disrespectful to the teams in the NFL. Here's the problem.
It is what it is.
You can't and I love how people like to automatically assume, like, this particular college team can whoop the lowest ranked team in the NFL.
I'm not assuming.
The biggest, I know you're not assuming. I'm saying people.
I said people. I'm telling you.
Doc. I didn't say people.
I'm telling you. You put this Alabama team against the Jets, this team beats the Jets.
But the major differences between the college team and the NFL team is money.
What is it I always say to you? I always say, it's all about the money.
That's really what it is. The only thing that makes it differently is money. And for all we know, you give Alabama players payment. I mean, will the attitude still be the same? I don't know.
You give these kids payment to do something that they were just doing for free. Oh, they're going to dominate the Jets. Okay, they're going to dominate the Jags.
It'll be the Jags.
The whole NFC East this year. The Bucks. Yeah, I said it.
Okay, we're going to keep going to this next game. Ohio State and Clemson had a slobber knocker of a game. A lot of people was talking about how Ohio State shouldn't have been in the dance because they only played 7 games, but they got in there and they shut up a lot of naysayers. And I mean, this whole game was talking about Justin Fields, Doc. Trevor Lawrence was saying his big serenade. He was saying his goodbye to college football because his offensive line didn't help him out at all.
Really let him down. The offensive line let him down. People are talking about,
well, you know, he got the number 1 pick. You got to play like that. Like, if your offensive line is getting destroyed, 0.3 seconds after the ball gets snapped, you could be Patrick Mahomes, you could be Tom Brady, you could be Joe Montana. There is nothing you can do.
Yeah, because they didn't.
In fact, the perfect analogy was last year with Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. We were just saying that his offensive line absolutely just get destroyed, so he's out there just running for his life.
No, definitely. And, you know, looking at the numbers and, you know, Clemson didn't really get a chance to even get the running game going because Ohio State was on them. They were going back and forth at first. But then Ohio State was just on them. I mean, Justin Fields had some really, really good throws. And I think after he took the big shot from that Clemson defender, which I'm not 100% sure about the disqualification on that.
I'm with you.
I'm not.
I feel like that was lingering in the back of the ref's mind because people kept talking about what happened last year.
That's unbelievable. You can't. I don't think they shouldn't judge like that. I didn't like that part. Folks,
they're never going to admit it. They're never.
I mean, it was a big hit.
It was a great hit.
Yeah.
But they're never going to admit that this was, hey, you know, our bad. It probably wasn't that serious, but, you know, Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number 1 pick last year, but he decided to stay 1 more year again. So we kind of had to give you this makeup call.
Yeah. So he took that hit and then they continued to run this fake with him. And I think I texted you. I said, I don't know why Clemson is buying on this fake. There's no way Justin Fields is holding on to this ball.
No.
He's going to hand this ball to Trey Sermon all night long because them ribs, if they're not cracked, they definitely bruised or something. Because
he definitely felt some stinging sensation on his ribs.
Yeah, there was no doubt about it. He felt something. But at the end of the day, Ohio State, I mean, they were the underdogs. People were looking down on them and saying that they couldn't beat Clemson, which – you know, I knew it was going to be a good game. I didn't expect it to be lopsided. Oh, again, that's why they put that game there because you just knew it wasn't a matter. It wasn't a matter of if Alabama would win. It was a matter of how much.
And that's what
that was the problem. Yeah, that's a major problem.
That's my problem the whole time.
Yeah, which it's like.
Do you feel like that? You know, Ohio State had the benefit of not playing as much as Clemson heading into
because of the 7 games.
Because of 6 games. There were 6
games.
Yeah. Because I feel like that could be a reason. You're not getting contact that much. I mean, we also talked about how it's 2 sides of it, of course. I mean, on one side, yes, Clemson played essentially a full season. So Ohio State's going to be fresh. But on the other side, Ohio State hasn't played that much, so they can get more non-contact type injuries because of it, because they decided to stretch for playing.
And it's kind of tough because the games that Ohio State played, and of course they won them all, but they really, really played in some close games outside of Nebraska, which they beat 52-17.
Yeah.
But Ohio State versus Penn State, 38-25. Ohio State versus Rutgers, 49-27. Ohio State versus Indiana. Oh yeah, shout out to Rutgers. Ohio State versus Indiana, 42-35. You know what I mean? So it was like they're playing these teams, and I think the last two games, right before the playoffs, 52-12 versus Michigan State, 22-10 versus Northwestern, which everybody was getting on Justin Fields because of his performance against Northwestern. But at the end of the day, I mean.
Oh yeah, we had some Ohio State fans call him a poser. I remember.
Right.
Now.
Yeah, they were really, really getting after him. So it was really tough. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else could have even went in there, honestly. But again, that's why I think that they need to add two other teams.
And do
that's the only thing I can think of.
What the NFL does, which is have the first two seeds have a bye.
Yeah, the way it would have been, it would have been Alabama and Clemson get the bye week. Notre Dame would have played Ohio State.
Yep.
Texas A&M would have played Cincinnati the way they have it here. And I'm just looking at
the rankings.
NCAA.com. I didn't look at any other rankings, but this is the Associated Press one. Which Cincinnati played a really, really good game. We were looking at that one.
Yeah.
Against Georgia, who came back and won, but it was really looking like Cincinnati was going to run away with this until the very end. But yeah, Texas A&M versus Cincinnati, Notre Dame versus Ohio State, Clemson and Alabama get a bye, and we move on with our lives.
I'm totally fine with that. It just depends on what college football decides it wants to do. And knowing the committee, they'll probably take a few of these teams out of there because they would probably switch Georgia and Cincinnati.
They probably would have switched Georgia and Cincinnati, or they would have put Oklahoma up because, of how exciting Spencer Rattler is. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. But also Coastal Carolina was undefeated.
They're not going to be in there. I'm telling you that's now. They were not going to be in there. Because Power 5 school. They're not in a Power 5
which I get. That's why. I get. But you have to take it into consideration. BYU was 10-1. San Jose State was 7-0. And that's where it gets kind of tricky because even a team like Liberty would have been exciting in the playoffs.
Then they would have been exciting. But the fact remains is if you're not in that Power 5 conference, who are you?
You're not. Who are you? So that's where it needs to change. I think it needs to go. I don't know. I don't think basketball follows the same principle.
No, basketball. Well, during the season, it's just based off of how strength of schedule is and whether you win or loss. Because we've seen some smaller schools like Boise State make it, pretty high in the rankings before a selection committee happens. It's when the selection committee happens is when we start seeing some bowl regards happening, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Because I'll never forget about that one year where they're like, okay, Boise State, you think you're so good, huh? Well, we're going to put you through the freaking gauntlet.
Through the gauntlet. But again, I would rather see a team go through the gauntlet. I would rather see, Cincinnati have to go through Texas A&M and then go through Clemson or Alabama to get to the championship.
I would have been.
This is their only.
But if they extended out to 8 teams, Cincinnati would not be in there. I understand what you're saying, but the fact that a team that's 9-0 won't make it to the big dance, but they'll probably put in a team with 2 losses. In fact, there were teams with 2 losses that's above Cincinnati.
No. Cincinnati is no. The way I'm looking, Cincinnati is number 6. What I'm looking at right now.
I'm looking at the college football FBS rankings.
Yeah, the one I have. Yeah, this one here, I don't know. This says through December 20th, actually, now that I'm looking at it. But
Yeah,
Cincinnati
still.
played Georgia. Cincinnati was number 6. Georgia was number 11.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying. But
Yeah,
I'm still standing by
what
what
I
I'm
have.
saying, though. They wouldn't have Cincinnati in there. I'm just telling you that.
I think they would have to, though. That's what I'm saying. It's like, how can you manipulate? You can't manipulate it that much.
You can.
Like,
they'll start saying, well, they didn't really beat anyone, and they didn't really have a lot of high quality wins, and they didn't really blow out these teams that are like 1-7 in the season. Like they only lost by like 3. They only won by like 3. I'm telling you, this is exactly how the selection committee is, folks. If you're thinking I'm lying, if they decide to extend it next season and this happens, just remember.
John Guy, you said it first.
I did say it first. I'm telling you this, it's always about the money. It starts and begins with what creates cash. And in this case, it's not controversy. It's who's the more eye-appealing team.
And I think that's the only reason to put Ohio State in, because there was really no reason to put them in, except for the fact that you might have wanted Ohio State versus Clemson rather than Clemson versus Texas A&M or Clemson versus Cincinnati.
Yep.
Which makes sense. So I can understand that. But we'll see what happens, man. So we're going to get Alabama versus Ohio State. Obviously, people are already saying that, this is going to be a wash. Justin Fields is hurt. Ohio State's going to get slaughtered. But I think it's going to be a really, really good game. If I had to give it a prediction, I'm going to say Alabama, but I'm not going to say it's going to be by no more than 10 points.
I could see 2 scores as well. It's going to be a much better game than that Alabama fighting. I don't want to fight. I'm just going to lay there and take it in the face. Irishes.
Yeah, I'm just going to lay here Irish. But with that, let's take a quick break. Let's come back with some more debate amongst friends right after this.
Free at last. Those JETS Jets are free at last. It only took 14 weeks after Doc and Prof first said #fire Gase that the Jets finally fired Adam Gase.
It's about damn time.
Doc, are they ribbing us?
It's about damn time.
I don't think this is a rib. I think, like I said, I knew it was going to come down to the unfortunate naming of Black Monday, but
it shouldn't have.
It should have been Black Week 6.
I mean, Black Monday definitely hit a lot of teams pretty hard, but we'll get to one in particular in a moment.
Yeah. But the Jets, they decided to move on finally. I'm not sure what's going on. I know a lot of people on my Facebook have been talking about Sam Darnold for some reason, because I guess they've been talking about him, like different analysts have been talking about him being a great quarterback to work with out of the teams that are vacancy, of course.
Which is apropos, because not even a season ago they was talking about how he was absolutely washed and he was a
right.
Come
on. I mean, he's young. The only thing that he has for him is he's young. And it just goes back to the last segment when I just said quarterbacks from USC, yikes.
Yeah.
It's rough, man. Like, I hate it. And I'm not saying he's buns, but they're going to have to put a lot of people around him and not give him, second and third string receivers to work with. This isn't the EFL.
This is not the EFL. But the Jets weren't the only team that let go of their coaches. We also had the Jaguars letting go of their coach.
So we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, maybe about 6-7 weeks ago. We did the coaches on the hot seat.
Yep.
Marone was one of those guys who they were on a bubble, but you want to talk about a perfect stormed opportunity.
And that's why they did it. That's exactly why they did it.
You get the number one.
Week 17, we had 2 teams that took the opportunity to do something best for business. And we'll get to the other team again. That's the second time we mentioned it.
Right. I think they had close to $100 million in salary cap,
100 million
and
cap.
the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence.
So, Doc, you mentioned Urban Myers.
So yeah, I mean, but he wants.
what's up with
Rumor has it he wants $15 million.
They said that rumors were actually untrue.
I don't believe it. I think he wants. How much did Gruden get?
Oh, for me, for that huge contract from the Raiders?
Yeah, how much did Gruden get? Because I'm sure Urban is like, I want the Gruden deal.
I want that grinder deal right there.
I want that grinder deal to leave and come out of retirement, to coach a team that I don't even know if this is going to ruin my legacy.
$10 million contract.
So yeah, he's gonna want $10 to $12 million, and that's okay. That's okay to want.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, if that's what you want, I mean, I say go for it. But believe that it's not going to be easy. I'm sure the Jacksonville Jaguar culture, that whole thing has to be shut down.
Yeah, the whole thing need to be reset.
The whole thing.
Top to bottom, reset.
But I don't know. You get Justin Herbert, not just Herbert. Oh my God, you get Trevor Lawrence. You bring in a rookie coach to go with a rookie quarterback. Do you go with a veteran coach to, you know what I mean? Do you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on, an Eric Bellamy from, Kansas City, who's been working. Yeah, which he's deserved a job for a long time, but
very long time. It's just now that they're winning championships, it's kind of
exactly. Oh, it's like, do you say, hey, I think I'm good where I am until a real opportunity that you really want. Now, granted, this is a clean slate. This is the only opportunity that a coach is going to get.
This is a potential clean slate.
No, I mean, $100 million, the number 1 overall pick. This is really clean.
Potential clean slate.
This is clean.
It's clean, but it still has streaks in it.
There are some streaks. I mean, there's no question. There's some streaks. Because you still have some people that you probably have to get rid of. I don't know who their GM is or if they're going to keep the GM. I have no idea. But if I'm a coach and I come to this job, you have to give me some power to make decisions. I don't want to see Marvin Lewis here. They better not do that. If they bring Marvin Lewis here, I'm never watching the Jaguars again.
This is why I stated they have streaks.
So it has
because
to
even
be...
though there's a cornucopia of opportunity, they still have the ability to muck it all up.
Oh my God. It has to be a really, really good candidate. I like the names that are being thrown out.
Yep.
Obviously, CBS Sports a couple hours ago said that they're not going to hire a first-time head coach, which means they want a veteran. They want a righty. They want a wild thing. I mean, what if Anthony Lynn gets brought into Jacksonville? Because I didn't think he was doing terrible.
I didn't think he was doing terrible either, outside of his time management issues. But that's why I thought they was going to give 1 more year at least. But that was another.
That was the other coach. I could see him getting this opportunity. I just don't know.
And there was also talking about Jason Garrett getting that job.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy.
I mean,
you don't want a first-time head coach. I wouldn't blame them for getting Jason Garrett. I wouldn't blame them as long as they don't do anything like bring in Bill O'Brien. I think they're okay.
I think Bill O'Brien may actually been excommunicado from the league.
I hope so. I hope he takes that Alabama job that they're talking about.
Sit in his office. We'll come to you to talk to you. Don't come out this door.
Right. Don't you dare come out this door. But yeah, it's so tough, man, because I don't know. It's a lot of football coaches that are out there, and to automatically say, "Hey, we're not going to look at any young ones. We want somebody who's a veteran," and that sounds a lot like Marvin Lewis, Jeff Fisher.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Um,
It can happen.
but Anthony Lynn, we got Anthony Lynn, the Chargers. Obviously, they have a young quarterback. I'm thinking that
who will be the offensive rookie of the year. Called it.
Right. You did. I mean, obviously, guy got hurt. I get it. But
well, I mean, people started saying it was going to be Tua, and I'm like, okay, this is the Zion situation from the NBA. Like, we need to calm down.
Tua really wasn't that good.
That's what I've been telling people.
Yeah, he wasn't that good. He had his moments, but like I told you, if you could give it to an offensive lineman or anybody else, it would either been Justin Jefferson or it would have been Tristan Wirfs. He really, really played well.
Yeah.
But
Tristan Wirfs didn't allow a sack the whole year.
He didn't. Yeah, he really, really played really good.
But like I said, the problem is they're not going to give it to an offensive lineman. This is a skill position award.
It shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be. It should never be.
The Chargers, I mean, it's an interesting spot to be in. They have a pretty good defense. Offense is pretty good. They have some pieces there that could really, really work. I could see Jason Garrett going there and being successful also.
I can see it happening. I mean,
yeah,
sky's the limit now for all these head coach vacancies. I would love to see if Eric can get in there, but we'll have to wait and see. I honestly think that he should wait. Like you said, I mean, if there's a better position that's open for him to become the head coach for.
Oh God, just don't take.
Well, the problem is like we've seen, genius offensive coordinators take head coaching roles and absolutely crap the bed with.
It's mostly all coordinators, though, offensive and defensive, and that's where it comes down to it. Because a guy like Anthony Lynn, he's a defensive guy, but defensively they struggle, and that's usually where the problem is. Like Freddie Kitchens when he took over in Cleveland, he's an offensive guy, but the offense stunk.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like Lovie Smith, when he took over the defense, they stunk. He's got to go. Like, I mean, that's ultimately what spells the end for a lot of these coaches. That is it their specialty. Like, this is your specialty. Yeah. This is what you do. You took over, and you stink. You got to go. You got to go.
That's hilarious. But we will get to the games, folks, because there's a lot to digress.
Oh, yeah.
Dissect.
There definitely is.
We'll be right back right after this. Doc, there are 18 imposters in the NFL. We are now talking playoffs. Doc, who's in? Who's out? Let's start off with the AFC, sorry. AFC.
Oh God. I was like, oh my God, he started with the NFC. Yes, the AFC, obviously number one, the Kansas City Chiefs get the first round bye. Playoffs go through Kansas City, which was kind of expected.
Yeah, it was expected. But I feel like people took their last two games as like a litmus test. I think they're going to turn on during the playoffs. I don't think I see any concerns with them. The second seed, we have the AFC East champions, the Buffalo Bills,
who kept fighting first by ending my fantasy football year and forcing me into retirement, and then going and kicking the Dolphins out of the playoffs.
Yeah. And I said this to you last week before the game started. I'm like, the Bills are not resting anyone. They're not going to try to sandbag this game. They want to come in with all the momentum in the world, and they're going to literally say, Patrick Mahomes, you're next.
Guess what, son? You're next.
Yeah. Oldberg
You
style.
understand why I said that. I know you know why I said that.
Oldberg style. Yeah, I get it.
Yep.
And they did. They did exactly everything that they said, but it was really the Steelers, spot to lose, and they just so happened to lose it.
They fell from the 1 seed to the 3 seed, and of course we are talking about the AFC North champions, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they struggled for 3 weeks.
They almost lost that too. They almost lost the AFC North title.
It was possible. It was possible. Had the Colts not stuttered, we would be talking about the team that they'll be facing off in the wild card game, but we'll get to that in a moment. But let's talk about the AFC South champions. The Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, Mr. 2000.
Yeah. We have another Tennessee running back hitting 2,000. Last one was Chris Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah. He's such a beast. I hate that it always seems to be on the Texans that he really explodes. But
someone actually made a YouTube video of just him just absolutely demolishing that team.
Yeah, and it's like every year. It's like, hey, I'm giving it to Derrick Henry, and like I feel bad for Deshaun because it's like, like how long do you have to watch Derrick Henry run up and down on your defense?
Yep. Yeah. Also, shout out to J.J. Watt real quickly for apologizing to Deshaun Watson about just how poorly the team played.
Well, I get it, and just to jump on that really quickly, and because we talked about this, we were talking about basketball locker rooms, but I think it's just in sports overall. When you're losing, like it's really tough to lose gracefully. Like losing is not an easy thing to do. Like
it's not,
and especially when you're accustomed to winning, and somebody asked me, and then we can get back, what did they expect a team like the Patriots to do? And I was like, well, personally, I expected Bill to Belichick.
I saw what you did there. That was actually pretty
cool. I mean, that's actually what I expected. I expected Bill to Belichick and stick to the plan, but he changed the plan and went with Cam, and that's kind of why they started losing. And of course, that's when it's like, well, trade everybody, and now the culture all of a sudden is down the drain. They miss Brady, all this other stuff. But it's like I feel like
it's more complicated than that. I feel like a lot of people want to just point the finger. Tom's not there anymore. That's why they're losing. Like it's more than that.
It is, but that's the easy, clear. Like,
of course,
it's clear. And on the other side, we'll get to it, but it's clear. They kind of it's one-sidedly clear.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll get to that part when we go over the NFC, but the Titans are playing against the Ravens, who had to fight this number 5 spot.
They did. They won their last game. Our reigning defending most valuable player in the league, Crapgate. And after Crapgate, he's been absolutely balling. I said Crapgate because I cannot confirm or deny he actually did that, and I don't care if he did it or not.
It's always like, what can Brown do for you kind of thing.
That's what he did there.
But then you have the Cleveland Browns, who also had to fight to stay in. I think somebody said the Browns being the Browns when they lost to the Jets.
Yeah, I think for them, like they're losing a lot of pieces due to COVID. And
COVID
even
thing.
Heading into the wild card game, they're going to be down their coach and some other coaches on the squad as well, actually. And I believe like 2 other players, but they didn't.
Which is tough.
Them. So it's going to be pretty tough. It's going to be pretty rough for them to try to take down Steelers out there in Heinz Field.
Right.
But we can only hope that they play their best, but they still have their great running duo, running tandem.
Right.
there.
Right.
And that's what they did week 17. They ran both of them and they got the win. I expect them to do the same thing because, I mean, Steelers run defense, they give up like 6 yards per carry.
Right. So I think it's going to be a good game. I'm definitely going to be watching that one. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we're going to be watching all the games, but I see what you're saying. And finally, rounding out the AFC playoff bracket, we have going up against the Buffalo Bills, the Indianapolis Colts, who also fought. They had to win, or else that spot would have been Miami's.
Yeah, we would have been talking about Tua right now.
We would. I wouldn't be talking about Tua. I would be saying they did what they had to do to get in there, but this isn't.
I'd probably be talking about Brian Flores being sole Patriot coach to ever be successful.
If I could make a bold claim, I would probably put Brian Flores on the ballot for Coach of the Year.
That's an interesting one. I can understand why, but they'll probably give it to the Packers coach.
LaFleur.
He'll probably get it.
Either him or they might actually try to give it to Ron.
That's possible.
The sympathy vote. Doc, you always talk about those sympathy votes.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. They could give it to Ron. I could see that. I could definitely see that. But speaking of Ron, I guess we should jump over to the NFC.
All right.
Green Bay Packers, those cheeseheads.
To Super Bowl 54.
Goes through Green Bay.
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
You know it's going to be snowing.
Oh, it's going to be the absolute cracker for weather, and it's going to be so lovely. And what makes it funny, it makes it more dangerous for any other team coming in there. Like, they should be afraid because
every team, except for maybe the Seahawks and the Bears, every team is like.
I don't take them seriously whatsoever, but we'll get to them.
Well, the reason why I say that, I'm talking about as far as the cold weather. I mean, as far as the cold weather, I think those are the only teams.
What they did to the Titans in the snow, everyone should be on DEFCON 5 at this point.
I don't think so.
I think so. You always know the worst part is I don't even think it was their full potential in the snow, and that I think that's the part that's scary.
I mean, personally, I felt like their main objective was to Montreal me. So I mean, I hate the Packers for life now. If you don't know, giving the ball to Aaron Dillon or Andre Dillon, AJ Dillon, Corey Dillon, it doesn't matter what Dillon. They didn't give the ball to Aaron Jones, and that robbed me.
The second seed, we have the New Orleans Saints, who are also the NFC South champions.
Beast.
Wow, I'm not going to go there. They're kind of lipping into the playoffs.
They are.
Drew Brees has not been playing up to their standard. Michael Thomas hasn't really been playing that much this year, period.
Didn't they lose all their running backs to COVID also?
Well, they lost Alvin Kamara to COVID. So he's day-to-day on whether or not he's going to be able to play or not. But I don't know. I mean, this is a Saints team that I don't know how they're really going to be manufacturing offense other than Taysom Hill.
Which is so crazy that Taysom Hill has become the focal point of the offense. Like, that's so insane. How crazy that it switched like that. Like, it was Kamara.
Yep.
No, it was like Kamara Thomas, and it was like, okay, Thomas, I don't know what's going on with him. Kamara. Taysom Hill. Throw Taysom Hill in there.
Yep.
Kamara. Let's get back to Kamara. So we'll see what happens. I was pretty sure they were going to run Taysom Hill at running back if they really needed to.
They probably start doing that. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, or he'll just run the Wildcat and it'll be all good. By number 3 here, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Always a threat.
Yep. NFC West champions.
Yeah, I mean, Russ is just one of those guys, and he's got a receiver now, which I can't say he had a receiver now because they've had some pretty good receivers.
They have good receivers.
I think it's just going to come down
was never
to
about their receiving core. I mean, granted, people think that their receiving core isn't that good because they don't watch the games.
right.
But DK Metcalf is an absolute stud.
Right. It's like anybody who passed on him. Just
stud.
think about the amount of people who passed on him who need receivers. And that's the thing I'm saying about a team like the Jets. It's like you needed a number one receiver. Like I get you had other needs, but this guy was really, really hard to pass on.
Yep.
But the Seahawks are a dangerous team. You never know what they're gonna do. Are they gonna, run the ball, pass the ball? They're gonna go against a pretty good team in LA, or not in LA, but the number 6 seed, who are missing a major piece, which we'll get to.
Yeah. We'll get to.
But the number 4 team, the Washington football team,
I'll say
making it in.
I'll say it right now. Guy got reads. I said that.
You did say it. You did say it. I
not
didn't
only will the
expect...
NFC East be absolute garbage, but then I said, don't be surprised that the Washington football team will win this division. That's exactly.
I really wanted the Giants to win it only because I hate the disrespect that Daniel Jones gets.
He plays in the New York market. That's pretty much like a losing battle by itself.
Because I think that he's really good. He's just a try hard. Like he lives free and tries hard. And I don't think there's anything wrong with his trying. It just happens to become a turnover every once in a while.
Yeah. People just focus on the turnovers versus the other thing. But we'll get to the NFC East in a little bit.
But Riverboat Ron got the red football team. Excuse me for the Freudian. Got the red football team.
Oh no.
Red football team. No. Got the team to the playoffs first year, which is awesome. Going through drama with Dwayne Haskins, which we told you, I think, on the show, you just can't do that.
Nope.
You just can't do it. And you aren't playing well. So he's been released. But they're playing against number 5 team in my Tampa Bay, clenching cheeks, Buccaneers. Who
this is going to be an entertaining game. While Washington has an incredible defense, really underrated defense, I think if the Buccaneers can establish the run early,
we can't establish anything.
They can give themselves a chance.
I don't think we're going to establish anything.
Of course, now the storyline heading into this game is Chase Young saying, I want you, Tom. I'm
coming for you, Tom. Which, going against Donovan Smith is very possible. I don't know if Montez Sweat is going to get as much pressure. Because like I said, Tristan Wirfs is playing really, really well. But, I mean, playing against Donovan Smith, who has been better this year, is possible, especially if the Reds football team plays like the Chicago Bears did. You like how I'm saving myself there?
It's going to come out, so.
I know it is. Yeah, the Red football team, and the way they're playing, if they play the way the Bears played a couple of weeks ago or 10 weeks ago, then we're going to be in a world of trouble.
Absolutely.
But the number 6 team, the LA Rams, they're going to be without Goff, it sounds like.
Yeah, they're going to be without Goff.
If they play that guy that they were playing the other day,
I don't know what they're going to do. So we both said this during the season. We don't know what LA team we're going to get. 1 week, their running backs look like world beaters. The next week, their running backs only get like 20 yards in the game. 1 week, their receivers are absolutely just getting everything. The next week, they have 10 drops. 1
Yeah,
week,
you're
their
absolutely
defense
right.
is absolutely shutting down the offense of the other team, aforementioned Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next
Mm-hmm.
week, they lose to the Jets.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why they number 16. Hopefully that quarterback shows up, but if not, Seahawks are moving on, and
I could see the Seahawks moving on. I
yeah,
can't trust them. I can never trust the Rams this year.
and of course the number 7 team, the Cody Parkey-less Chicago Bears.
You ever say it was really bad? And I don't like this, but I might have to say this. The
Uh-oh.
Bears might actually beat the Saints.
I was just thinking the same thing. The Bears. Listen, Mitchell Trubisky is playing motivated
He's
football.
playing good enough not to screw up too badly.
Yeah, he's playing really, really motivated football. I'll give him credit. Obviously, his benching was an eye-opening experience for him. Maybe the game has slowed down for him enough to where now he's like, I can do this. I'm Mitchell Trubisky. I'm the number 2 pick in the draft. I can do this.
Nah, homie, you need to calm that down there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this must be because there's no other explanation.
Here's the thing, though. He doesn't need to do a lot. If he can just
doesn't.
throw for at least 150 yards
Mm-hmm.
and throw no picks, the defense will have his back.
True.
That's all they have to do. That's
yeah,
it.
the Saints lose. The Saints lose to the Bears.
Because
it's gonna be
if the
rough.
Bears win time of possession, they're going to win this game, and I could see that happening.
I can understand why you would say that.
I don't like it. That's what it pains me to say this, but they could actually beat the Saints.
It's going to be an interesting game, to say the least. They're all going to be interesting.
But that's my prediction for that game.
I'm looking forward to watching. I think you're right. This is going to be an exciting weekend of football. I believe I'm going to be home to watch all of the games, so it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely.
But we had a lot of ridiculousness happening.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
To lead up to the number 4 NFC East title being decided, apparently there was real life sandbagging.
Oh yeah.
Real life.
As I noticed that, I quickly text you. I'm like, this is sandbagging happening, bro.
At its finest.
At its finest. In fact, Doc, make sure you put in this spot right here the Brock Lesnar, Heath Slater thing, because that's exactly what the Washington football team.
I don't care about your playoffs.
That's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles did to the Giants.
That was so terrible.
For some asinine reason, Giants fans really thought Philadelphia had their backs. Are you kidding me?
It was so funny. And like I said, I understood you expect it to be fair.
They're going to help us win the division. Eagles like, man, we don't like you, man.
We really like Ron.
We don't even like Ron. We hate everyone. We threw snowballs at Santa. Come on. If we boo Donovan McNabb, we're going to help you out.
I don't know, man. That was really tough, though. That was really tough to watch. Once they pulled Jalen Hurts out of the game,
that's what I knew. I
was like, who is this bum? And then that's when I noticed, and I was like, they're playing an EFL quarterback.
Yep.
And it just so happened, it was so funny. And I promise you, I'm not making this up. I turned on Madden 20 because I'm not playing Madden 21 anymore.
That game is trash.
And I tell you no lie, that is the same quarterback that I was playing against.
Yeah. And
I was like, yo, like that's the
same quarterback that actually washed your team one week actually during the EFL.
Exactly. Because he can throw an EFL, but in real life it seemed like everything that the coach said about him was legit in the EFL and Madden. But what we saw
was
on
also sandbagging, and he was doing exactly what his coach told him to do.
Oh, he said go out there because that last drive, like he wasn't even trying to throw the ball deep.
No, at all. That was the point.
Like I was like, what is this? Like he's not even trying.
There was two reasons why they did what they did, and I revealed both of them on our Facebook group. By the way.
Mm-hmm.
The first reason, F them Giants.
Sure.
Second reason, if they won, they would go down to like the 9th pick.
Ninth pick,
and if they lost, they'll be up to the 6th pick.
No, I get it.
The decision was simple. Of course, Doug Peterson will never, and the rock means ever, to put in Chris Jericho too, admit to doing that. I mean, we keep talking about like people will not admit doing things, but we know that they've done it. This is one of those, mum's the word.
But the players were too like disgusted with it.
Of course.
Publicly.
You don't want to purposely lose a game on primetime TV. First of all,
it was too public.
All eyes was on this game.
Yeah, when they went forward on 4th and goal and they had a chance to tie it, I was like, okay. But then, Jalen Hurts, he tried to score, maybe.
He just scored a touchdown. I think they went like a 3 and out the next drive, and then he was finished for the night.
Yeah, that was it was too much. I mean, but either way,
I would say it was just hilarious just watching the feeds for Giants fans throughout Sunday. They went from we beat them boys, woo!
That game was a cluster. Dumpster. That game was really, really rough.
The entire season for this division has been rough.
No, that game summed it up. It was really, really bad, especially that last
summation
exchange
of the season as a whole.
Yeah, that last exchange with the fumble and the split and the recovery.
I honestly cannot wait to watch the urinated tree recap for this week. Because I know, in fact, I'm pretty sure he'll probably put that game as its own video. Like it's that crazy for what happened. But Giants fans went from a 10, which is completely happy, down to like a -50.
Yeah, it was pretty quick, man. I can't lie. It was definitely pretty quick. They were super salty.
I'd be salty too.
I mean, I get it. Because I think I don't know, maybe I don't get it. I hope to never be in this situation. Like I said, I don't expect the Bucs to win every year. So to be an 11-win team is great. But to be in the playoffs at 6-9, I don't know.
I don't think that's something that we should be, celebrating about at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's like, I don't even know what to really even say anymore. Yep. I mean, the red football team is in. The rest of the NFC East is out. It's just the way it happened. I guess people are just like, wow, we got Montreal.
Yeah. That's much. They didn't get Montreal. The Giants.
I mean, it kind of did. They kind of did.
The Giants screwed the Giants.
Because of their previous, I mean, honestly, and this goes back to something that somebody said, that loss to Tampa really did hurt for the Giants. Because remember that whole non-pass interference thing. I don't know.
Even still, had their season been a tad bit better, I'm not even going to hang it on just one game or one play.
Sure.
That
this is hindsight 2020, of course.
Yeah, like if any team, and I told you this, any team played 500 football throughout the year would have won that division.
True, and that's what happened.
500 football.
That's what happened. I mean, Ron did a great job. I mean, going through the treatments that he went through, and still coming out and having an opportunity, going through quarterback controversy. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. They'll probably give him Coach of the Year for this.
Yeah, no, without question. I wouldn't blame him. But the playoffs are set, and
Saturday it begins.
Yeah, I guess I have to pull my puzzle out.
Did you just? Oh gosh.
What?
Nothing.
I have to pull my puzzle out.
That's why I said, "Oh gosh."
Yeah, I have to pull my puzzle out and get ready for whatever Bucks are going to show up this weekend. I don't even know. And then get ready for these other games. We'll see how it goes. This is
where we separate the pretenders from the contenders.
Bumming ears. Unless they were sandbagging. That's the only thing I can think of, because sometimes when they play bad, it was like, yeah, how can they play this bad and have all this talent? Unless they were sandbagging. That's the only thing I can think of. If they were truly sandbagging, Tom Brady was like, you know what? I don't want to be number one. I really want to be, let's see, I want to play the NFC East. How many wins do I have to get to play the NFC East? That's the only thing I can think of, because they played bad all year, I felt like. But somehow we won 11 games. I don't even know how we won 11 games, to be honest with you. I feel like we should.
Like I said, when the games that y'all really, really played well, like y'all really, really played well.
Yo, so if he orchestrated this now, this is the biggest orchestration. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm gonna go with it. It's the biggest orchestration of, playoffery that I've ever seen.
Since the Cavaliers a few years back.
Since the Cavaliers didn't want to play against the Heat.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
That absolutely refused to play up to competition.
So now here we are.
The Jaguars. The Jaguars is always the answer.
Wow. So now here we are. The playoffs are set. We've bypassed several solid teams for an NFC East team who I hope they don't sleep on.
Nope.
But it works out perfectly, because if the Bears beat the Saints, then it's really just the Packers.
Yep.
Because we can beat the Rams without golf. I think it would be an interesting game between the Seahawks and the Bucks, but at least we have a chance. At least this team, unlike my fantasy team, will have a chance.
I see what you did there.
But with that, let's take a quick break and let's come back with some more debate amongst friends. And we're back. At the end of every show, we like to do what's called the 2-minute drill, where we go over stories and headlines that we didn't get a chance to cover during the show. This week, Alabama offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian interviewed and was hired as the new head coach of the University of Texas. Prof?
Thank you, Doc. Boston University men's basketball team wore masks playing against Holy Cross, who also wore masks. So throughout the entire game, they both wore masks on the court. Back to you, Doc.
Crazy. And speaking of crazy, the Marshall Thundering Herd have not re-signed Doc Holliday, coach, after his 11-season stint. They will be looking for replacements and could go with some alumni. Prof?
And talking about an arm and a leg, comedian Tom Segura broke his arm while trying to dunk, and it became a viral sensation. Back to you, Doc.
Do not watch that video. And that's all we have for today's show. Be sure to tune in next week as we continue into the sports realm with more news, more analysis, and the reads.